What's going on, everybody? This is Dave from This is Pop Punk Promotions. I'm here with Andrea from MK Naomi from Boston, Massachusetts. How's it going, Andrea?
Going good. How's it going with you?
Doing great. Really appreciate you coming on. Let's dive right into it. So, when and how did MK Naomi form?
Well, we started a little bit before we started playing out. So around like 2020, ooh, if my phone could stay still around 2022. But we kind of call ourselves 2023 since that's when things really start kicking off. So yeah, about 3 years now.
Short, simple, right to the point. I love
Yeah.
it.
I don't know if it's helpful to give the background. I know you know a little bit about like how we formed and stuff, but yeah, we this iteration of the band has been about a year and a half, like officially. But we started out as a trio with my stepsister and our still guitarist Lauren. But my stepsister had two babies very quickly back to back and wanted to do mom life, and my partner joined in the interim. Lauren moved to the UK all within like the first 6 months of us like starting to play shows, just timing and us all being in our 30s, and yeah, and so my partner Tom joined on guitar. Lauren left for a bit. We had a fill-in drummer, so it was kind of like glorified playing solo shows but like full band. And then Lauren came back. My stepsister came back for a bit in between babies and then left permanently, amicably, completely. And yeah, so it's me, Lauren, my partner Tom on guitar, and then our friend Ken on drums.
I can't imagine being pregnant, like having kids and then trying to do the band stuff at the same time. I mean, that must have been like really, really tough.
I know we wanted to give her as much grace as possible and also like leave the door open if it was too much. Like it was one of those things where like we're happy to have you, but we don't want this to be like a burden. And I think once the second baby was in short succession, that was kind of when we knew things had a more of a timeline on it. But you know, she's family. We're all still friends and everything. We're actually she's helping me out on a studio gig for another project that I'm getting off the ground. But it's all amicable. It's all love. But yeah, it's definitely a different vibe being in a band in your 30s and 40s versus your 20s. You know, a lot more life stuff coming your way. So yeah.
Absolutely. She's got my respect, and you guys are the real MVP for leaving
Thanks.
that door open.
You bet. You bet. It's one of those things where, like, she might not drum for us in the future, but we've left it open that, like, if she wants to do like guest vocals, because she did harmonies on the EP and the two singles we have out. So we wanted to make sure that she felt like, this wasn't like there was no anger or annoyance at her for wanting to do something a little different. So yeah.
That's awesome. So last June, you guys dropped the EP Dream Hiss. How's the response been?
It's been really, really positive. And we appreciate it because we know like EPs are kind of hit or miss in terms of like, just getting them out there. Sometimes people love EPs, sometimes they don't really make the mark because like people don't want just a few songs. So, and like publications don't always want to cover them. So we're really grateful for our label guy Tim, who runs Sweet Cheetah PR and records, for taking a chance on us and really helping us put our music out there because we've all been doing this for a million years. And this is the first band that, like, at least for me, that I've been like actively trying to like, I mean, we're still very DIY, but like just wanting to like add a little, I don't know, professional touch. Maybe not do it 100% ourselves because it's hard to do. So, yeah.
A little bit of music is better than no music. That's what I tell people. And making an entire album is really freaking hard. Like putting out like 12, 10 really good songs is really, really hard. A lot of people don't really like realize the blood, sweat, and tears that go into it.
Seriously. Yeah, I wasn't sure. So like when we started being a band, I had an interim between being in a band where I write my own music. And I wasn't sure, like, I kind of like lost a little bit of confidence in that because of COVID. And just, I was in a band that kind of put out an EP, honestly, only a few weeks before COVID really hit and everything shut down. So lost a lot of momentum there. And so it was just kind of like, oh man, like, I don't know if I have it in me to do this again. Like, I kind of felt like I got like cut off in the knee before I could really start and in the last project. So I decided to just like swallow my annoyances and just deal with it. And Lauren was really supportive of me wanting to start a band, and I had already been in a band with her previously before, where she was the main songwriter. So she was the first person I thought to ask, and I'm just really grateful that like we have a collaborative band environment. We all have ideas. It's very, like it's open for everybody to be a part of. It's not like my glorified solo project, even though for a while it felt like it just by the way life goes. But yeah, it's been really exciting. And some of these songs that were on Dream has like were in the making for like, 5, 6 years prior to that. So it feels really good to get those songs out there and have them be like well received. And it also gives me like the fuel and us collectively to then, write what's next in the now permanent iteration of our band. So yeah, it's been really nice.
That must be absolutely incredible and like very like rewarding. So, who did you guys record it with, and how's the process?
Yeah, so we recorded all. So just to recap, our Dream has his 4 songs. We put out 2 songs before that as singles, but we recorded all during the same like recording and mixing sessions with Kyle Paradis from New Alliance. Sorry, I'm stuttering here. Just woke up from a nap. So yeah, Kyle Paradis at New Alliance Studios, and New Alliance East is the same. It's like a different branch of the same studio that mastered it. He's wonderful. He's an Oh the Humanity, and I Was Awake, and is just like an excellent all around sound engineer, mixing engineer, guy that you want in your corner. He's become a really, really good friend. So it's been a really awesome experience to come out of that with a pal.
Was this the first time that you worked with him, or did you work with him prior?
No, so that was the first time I'd ever worked with him before. I had met him. So that was the recording sessions were 2023 fall and like into winter, early winter 2024, a few months. So I had met him the year prior at Fest. Just friends of friends. We had all been chanting the. If you find us at Fest, we might be chanting Massachusetts late into the night. So yeah, it was like one of those like nice bonding experiences where I kind of met him in a group of people, and then his name floated to the top when we were trying to figure out someone to record with. And yeah, it was a great experience of really getting back in the studio for the first time in a few years. It was pretty nerve wracking. So having him like be so supportive and be like that fly on the wall in the room, like giving suggestions, saying what works, what doesn't work, was really super awesome to have. And we're excited to record with him again. We've actually recorded a cover that was on a Sweet Cheetah tribute and it was all like Pixies songs we recorded with him. Gigantic, like that came out. I want to say it was like about a year ago now, but yeah. So we're excited to work with him again.
Really rad that you had somebody that gave you suggestions but didn't like, force you to make music you didn't want to make. Because I've heard stories of like, you know, people forcing bands to like make music that they didn't want to make, and then the final product was, not good and they weren't happy with it. So it's nice that you had that, happy medium.
For sure. He really seemed to get like the sound we were going for when maybe we didn't fully grasp like the exact thing we wanted. Like it's funny when you get in a room and you haven't recorded anything yet and you have all these like reference ideas and you're kind of figuring it out as you go, and he just kind of like immediately latched on, was like, "Oh yeah, I know what you want." And so even when we weren't totally sure, the exact nuances of like how we want vocals to sound, or like how, the exact taste of the guitar on the track. It was really nice to have someone who just like gets it and could help kind of guide us into that as well. So really appreciate him a lot.
You're the real MVP if you're watching, if you're listening.
I appreciate that.
So
And
what
I
would you
got to
say
tell
your
him that I'll have to share it. So that, Kyle, we love you.
please do. So what would you say is your favorite and least favorite thing is about the writing and recording process?
Yeah, I'd say s- honestly, it's kind of the same thing that I love and hate. Like I really appreciate like the creative aspect of like just like picking up a guitar. So like I play bass and sing in the band, but I write on guitar, and so just like having the confidence to be like, I can write a song, and like, I might not be the best guitar player in the room, but like I can, figure out a hook. I can figure out chords. Like am self-taught, but so I'd say that's both like a nerve-wracking thing, but also like the most rewarding when I do have a hook that I'm like, oh, I'm really excited on that. Like, or I wrote a verse and a chorus, but I tend to write like in pieces, so that's where I end up bringing things to the band, and we flesh out what works and what doesn't work. But I'd say that that's one of my favorite things and most nerve wracking. And same with recording. Like I really like getting in there and just like playing around. Like it's not like a free for all. Like we're not the Beatles or anything. We're not like sitting around for weeks on at a time just like throwing shit at the wall. But it is really nice to have that like creative spark in the studio where like maybe you went in thinking things would go a certain way, but you open yourself up to possibilities like additional vocals or harmonies or layers or something. And I think that is what really that really tickles a part of my brain that I didn't know I enjoyed. So yeah.
I tell people I feel like I would really struggle with like writing songs and writing lyrics and also like wanting to like speed up the process so I could get it out to the world as soon as possible.
Yeah, like the sitting on it can be really like tough, like patience wise. Like Dream has, we like I mentioned before, we started earlier on than we ended up playing shows. Like we kind of were like marinating as a band for about a year. So then that was like 22 into 23. 2023 is when we like decided like, okay, let's, finalize these 6 songs. Let's like, and that's the thing. It was only like 6 songs for a while, especially because we had a lot of change in the early years of the band. So, there was about a like 2 year period where, we started playing these songs like 2023 into this year, or yeah, 2023 into 2025, where we didn't really write any new stuff beyond the initial 6 songs. And that was okay because like we were playing kind of sporadically, and I didn't feel like we were like over playing the same songs, even if it felt like it to us. It wasn't necessarily like we were playing shows every week or anything. So yeah, it's been a trip. But sitting on the EP, we had it recorded for a little over a year before we released it. So that was, yeah, I totally resonate with what you said about like wanting to just get it out there and just do it.
That would have drove me absolutely wild, but at the same time, it's like patience is a virtue.
Right.
You can't rush the process because you want the music to be, as perfect as possible, and you want more importantly, you want the fans to, love it and be able to resonate with it. So you just have to, bite the bullet and just, be patient.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's definitely a thing I've had to like learn as time goes on. Like in previous projects, I wasn't the driving person behind it. Like I wasn't the band dad. I might have been like a creative voice in a band or a co-writer, but yeah, so being like more of the band dad driving the ship a little bit here, as it were, like it is harder to like look out like a year in advance and be like, oh, things that we're writing now might not even be out in a year. Like, the LP that we're writing right now, it might take, we might not even be recording it until spring of next year. So, yeah, it is hard to just sit on my hands and be like, it's going to be fine.
Well, now I'm really stoked. Now that you said that, now it gives me something to really look forward to.
Hell yeah. Well, we have 4 songs that we've written in the last few months. We have a couple more that we just started writing, but again, we took some time off after Midwest Friends Fest, so June's been kind of a light month for songwriting. So yeah, I'm excited too.
I'll be keeping my eyes peeled.
Thanks. I'll definitely keep you in the loop for sure. You'll be one of the first people.
Right on. So, who are your biggest influences?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question. I mean, someone just said to me the other day, and it like hit me like a ton of bricks that like we're all still kind of that same person we were when we were 15, and I'm like, damn, I see that in myself. So it's like the people and like artists and things that influence me now like definitely have diversified since that time, but there is still that like 15-year-old me who's like, yeah, like when I first wanted to play music, I was obsessed with No Doubt as like a young child, pre Gwen Stefani going off the deep end and being a piece of shit. So, but yeah, so like the initial influences, like, yeah, a lot of those like 90s, you know, for lack of a better term, like female fronted bands. Obviously female fronted isn't a genre, but at the time, I was really into ska music. I was really into punk. So like, bands like Dance Hall Crashers and No Doubt and, Distillers and, Save Ferris, like I definitely had this like melodic female front person, like there was a dream in me to do that. But in reality, I think if I didn't have something to do with my hands, I would be like a little ball of anxiety. So it's nice that I play an instrument as well. But now, yeah, I don't know. Like I get inspiration in a lot of different places. Like I got really into New Jack Swing during COVID, and it was like a genre I didn't know enough about. I like knew that I liked, SWV and like early Janet Jackson albums and stuff, but like had no idea that there was this like subgenre. I was just like a little sheltered to that. So, I take inspiration from a lot of different stuff. I really, you know, short and long answer, yeah, a lot of like 80s pop music, like 90s, like kind of alt and like grunge, like Riot Girl for lack of a better term. I just saw Heavens to Betsy is playing some shows and really excited about that. But yeah, and just like I don't know, it's Lunatics is a band that like really influenced me cuz I failed a chemistry class and a geometry class in 10th grade and had to take summer classes and found them on MySpace because that's the age that I am. And, a lot of like my like coming of age was finding just like a variety of music on MySpace that I didn't have access to otherwise growing up poor and like not having, you know, a lot of, I don't know, I didn't grow up with like dial up internet. Well, I did grow up with dial up internet. I didn't grow up with like the fast speed internet that like people got probably in the early 2000s. Took me a lot longer. So, yeah, I kind of found my music in a roundabout way, but I don't know if that's a good answer because I don't know. I don't. It's hard to know. Like who would you say your like top influences are? Like, off. Do
My,
you have
my,
people that you just go to?
Mine, I mean, it's tough because it's like always changing and all that, but I would say the most consistent right now, Newfound Glory is my favorite band of all time
Oh yeah.
because like from top to bottom of their, entire catalog, just A plus, every album is a banger. They seem like they're really great dudes. Like that for me, that's important for me. It's
Yeah.
like, they're good people, not just good musicians, but also good people too.
Absolutely.
So Newfound Glory is number one. Blink is number two. Then after that, it gets tough because then you have like the drive-through records bands. So you have Midtown, you have Something Corporate, you have Houston Calls, you have the Early November, like you have Socratic. Like I can go on and on and on. So
Hmm.
I'll keep it short and simple. Newfound, Blink, and then like the entire catalog of records, and then Run for Cover. I'm really really hardcore like getting into like Run for Cover records and like their catalog. Basement, Fiddlehead, bands like that. And then also like the classic victory bands like the Taking Back Sundays and the Silversteins of the world. Like I've got
Yeah.
so many influences I'll go on. So those are just, I'll just name drop a couple. And then Hawthorne Heights, Senses Fail. I'll just,
Oh yeah.
name drop a couple and then, go from there. But it's funny because later on I'll be like, man, I should have like name dropped this band and that band. But it's like,
Well,
I don't want to, I want to save your ears and save everybody else's
no,
ears.
it's okay because as you were saying that, because like that, it's such a like good question, and I always feel like I answer it so like lacklusterly I don't even know if that's a word. Like I always feel like after the fact I'm like, damn, I should have said that. So as if it's all right, if I may add an addendum, Jimmy Eat World is a huge influence to me, especially like their records like from beginning through even through and I think it was like 2009 like Invented. I haven't caught on with the more recent records, but they just write hooks so well and like I love the way that they write like there's like pop sentiments, even though I really consider them one of like the like seminal emo bands of like the 90s into the 2000s. It really, really, really was like one of the bands that like I learned how to harmonize like just by singing along in the car. Like just I like didn't realize I was like doing that, but just yeah, I was a huge fan. And then like yeah, Jimmy Eat World, and then like AFI was a huge seminal influence for me. Like just they're like they have done so much in terms of like some fans would say like they've sold out, but like they're genre bending and like changing over time. Like they've had a lot of different incarnations musically. And, I just appreciate that like through it all, I feel like they've cultivated like a really like strong, I don't know, just like following. And it's because they're a good band and because they like aren't assholes. Like at least from what I can tell, like they seem like, again, like the wanting to like bands that are good people. Fully agree with that. I have a hard time like I don't know that I could listen to a band if I knew that they were like predators or bad people. Like that kind of for me is a deal breaker. So yeah.
Absolutely. So if you could play a show or tour with one of those bands, who would it be?
Oh boy. I mean, Jimmy Eat World would be a dream, hands down. I know they're touring right now, but I don't know if they're doing any local openers. You know, AFI would be amazing. My one caveat is that like I have noticed in recent years that they haven't toured with many bands with femme individuals. So it would be cool if they did that. I know it's not always up to the individual band or artist, but there's a lot of other people making those decisions. But yeah, I would love to open. I mean, Jimmy would be great. I'm honestly really digging the new Sincere Engineer record that just came out. So, um, and like that would be a sick band to open for. So like honestly, we MK is like not as discerning as like I would like to be. Like if a cool band was like open for us, I'd be like absolutely put us on,
All
pull
those
the
bands
trigger.
would be so sick. Sincere Engineer, I still have to get around to listening to them. So when I do finally check them out, I'll report back. But Jimmy Eat World would
Definitely.
be incredible. I think they're as big as they are. I feel like they still deserve like way more love.
Definitely. I think they get relegated to like a legacy act when really they've been relevant, I'd say, for the last 25 years, if not more. Like they've been active. They haven't sold out, quote unquote. Like they've maintained like a pretty drama free and like, I haven't heard of anything ever sketchy with them happening, which is like, unfortunately, the longer bands are around, the more you hear about like after a time if they're creeps or not. So yeah, it's just they seem like one of those bands that just like has maintained, if not like grown. And I wish more people would recognize that. So yeah, I agree with you.
Absolutely. They're another band, super consistent, and their drummer Zach Lynn is one of my biggest influences, like drumming wise. Like if I can like be half of him, like that would be, incredible.
Oh yeah, they're so solid and like there's truly not like a weak link in the band. So it's cool to hear that like you appreciate their drumming, especially. Actually, fun little I don't know what you call Easter egg, I guess, but like on Unseemlier, so my other band, Unseemlier, we put out a record around the same time as Dream Hiss last year called I Have a Screw Loose Somewhere. And on one of the songs, there's a sample from, I think it's the tambourine from, oh my God, which song is it? It might be from The Middle. I'll have to double check, but it's like if it's not The Middle, it's like one of their other like sweetness or something. But either way, like I remember Zach Weeks, who recorded us, said that he had like the sample and put it in the track. So yeah,
That's
little Easter
dope.
egg. Yeah.
That's your claim to fame.
Yeah. Honestly, like I don't know why I'm still in bands. Like I've peaked. I don't need to do anything anymore.
You can die happy.
Yeah, exactly. You know?
Sick. So you're from Boston, Mass. How is
Yep.
the pop punk, the emo scene there? Do you have a favorite local band, a favorite venue?
Yeah, we're going through a bit of a scene renaissance right now. I mean, I know all like DIY scenes are hurting to some degree in terms of just like cost of getting out there, cost of touring is, I'm sure like it's crazy. Like it's harder to get people in the door. It's harder to like, just break even. But ever since COVID, like I mean, I was playing in bands before COVID, but and things were going really well, I'd say in this general Boston, New England, Metro Boston area. I'd say like especially like the Boston to Providence corridor and Boston, that's like the Boston South quarter, and then Boston up to like New Hampshire, Manchester area. Like there's a lot of really fucking sick bands and like there's just like a lot of cool stuff happening, and sadly still smaller venues are having a hard time staying afloat. We lost Great Scott, which is a really really important venue that's been around forever in 2020, and it's now Taco Bell Cantina, and they put up a Taco Bell like a mile away on my old street, so it's one of those things, but I mean, there's so many good bands in this area. I mean, I guess it depends on what you're looking for. Like, we've got Megan from Work, we've got Cape Crush, we've got our sister bands Little Low and Unseemlier, which yes, I am in, so I'm a little biased, and Massive Nightmares. We've got, and those are all bands like that. Either I or like my bandmates are in. Lauren's also doing a project called Daphne Blue Underworld that's really cool, like ambient guitar pop. Our drummer, Ken, is also in KCUF and Coffin Salesman. Just to be clear, Tom is in Little Low as well as Massive Nightmares. He's also in No Trigger, which is on hiatus right now. But it's like we all have been doing music for a while, and like I feel like if you're still doing it in your 30s and having a good time, hopefully that means something's going right. And it seems like there's a lot of bands doing it in their 30s and 40s here and having a good time. So yeah, I mean, a lot of other good bands like Hell Beach out of Manchester, New Hampshire, they're absolute homies. They're great. Rebuilder is great out of Boston. They play a lot of the opening gigs for like cool touring big punk bands. It's like I'm just so happy. Happy just to see you. Good June is one of our real good homies that are here in the Boston area. Hyber, Weatherless. There's just so many bands like Cherub Head. I keep thinking of more bands as we talk, and I feel like I'm just vomiting. But yeah, we have like a really cool scene, and it's pretty diverse too. Like we have a lot of emo bands, we have a lot of pop punk, but we also have like a pretty solid metal scene. Worcester, which is just like southwest of Boston, about an hour out. Like they have like the Palladium. They have like a solid like scene. Ralph's Rock Diner. High Command is a big band that plays out of there. I'd say as far as favorite venues go, I mean, so we have a venue right here in town that a friend of ours, Ryan the Terrible, books. He's been a big booker for punk and DIY in the Boston area for like a long time now, and in Malden, where Tom and I live, Faces Brewing is a really cool venue. It's kind of swanky, and you wouldn't expect it to be throwing punk shows in the back, but they like have chandeliers and like fake like plants and stuff. But yeah, they throw like awesome punk shows in the back. We just saw Sadlands and Awful Den last night, or I did anyway, because Tom was on tour with Little Low. But yeah, and O'Brien's Pub in Alston is like a mainstay that I feel like everyone and their mother has had their first show at, and is like, really gotten their start at playing in gigs and just like doing the punk thing. But yeah, I mean, I'd say those are two. And then there's also Deep Cuts in Medford, which is another town that's like in between Boston and where I live, Malden. And that's a pretty newer venue that gets a lot of great touring bands, does a lot of great fostering the DIY scene. They have excellent food. They have a little record corner in there. They also have like pinball like situation on the side. So I think for those that are like trying to foster the scene, they're going above and beyond, and like it shows. So we're really appreciative of those that carry the torch and just, want to make sure that like DIY stays alive, and in spite of the rising rent and costs of fuel and all the crazy shit going on in the world. So yeah, we're pretty lucky right now.
It's amazing. You guys have a bunch of riches.
Yeah, it's Boston is known for being like this hub, we're even that's our nickname, like the hub. Like we're known as being this hub of like, medicine and the arts and education and all the stuff. And while that can be, I'd argue, is true, like I think the other side of that coin is that we have a very transient population in the city of Boston, especially in, the younger areas like Allston and Brighton neighborhoods, where historically a lot of the like art scene has thrived. And so the unfortunate side of that is that our the way that our city's set up, we don't have caps on rent. We have exorbitant rents. We have very predatory like landlord situations here, where they can charge, brokers fees on top of, which is just like an arbitrary fee on top of like rents. And people are historically like moving in the neighborhoods where a lot of the music and like culture is happening, like every 4 to 5 years. And so those neighborhoods, actually, it's been found that like Alston and Brighton gets the least amount of funding from the city for, community stuff, for just like upkeep in general. And it feels like it's by design, knowing that they don't have to invest, because if they just wait a few years, they'll have a whole new group of people living there that they don't have to worry about investing in. So for those of us that call this home and live here and have been here, it feels like a little bit of a tug of war with the city to like care. Like we have an arts and nightlife czar, and it's very unclear what she does. Seems like all of her initiatives go towards specifically family friendly events, specifically sober events, which again I think are both important, but ignoring the fact that we have this whole subset of, like DIY as a culture, venues as a place that people go to for fostering the local scene. It feels like that's very much ignored by the powers that be. And I'm sure if you ask any other city, it'd probably be the same thing if you were asking the DIY communities, but just feels like an exceptional hurt here because of how much bands and the culture's thriving in spite of that, So I just wish that like the city and people that could have a say in protecting arts don't do more.
Well, hopefully that changes soon.
Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, maybe if enough of us keep making a stink about it, they'll have to do something, right?
Be the change in the world that you want to see. That's what I tell people.
Absolutely.
Right on. So now I'm going to ask you some non-music questions. It's a good way for me to get to know you. I did this with the other bands, the labels, the whole shebang. Are you ready to rock and roll?
Let's go.
All right, first one. Favorite food.
Oh boy. Favorite food off the top, I'd probably have to say ice cream.
What's your favorite flavor?
Anything with Oreo in it, like coffee Oreo. It's probably my favorite.
Great
Bonus
pick.
points of vegan coffee Oreo because I'm trying to go dairy free. So
Great pick. Can never go wrong with Oreo. That's actually my favorite.
hell yeah.
Oreo, and then it's probably mint chocolate chip. I love the
Oh,
color
that's great.
green. It's my favorite color. Plus, like I'm really getting into the flavor. So yeah, those are my top two.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah. Those are good
And it's
choices.
always I always go cup. Sometimes I'll go cone, but normally I go like 8 times out of 10 I'll go cup.
Oh, I'm a cup girl all the way. I mean, I'll take a cone in the cup, but I don't like the pressure of having to make sure I eat it before it disintegrates. So
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
trying to stay away from the messiness. I gotta always look good.
Yeah, I don't do good with sticky hands, so that'll be a cup for me, please.
Very cool. So if you could have any superpower, which one and why?
I would choose the power to heal. Like a white mage, white as in white magic, not as in white power. Thank you. Just to be clear, I played a lot of Final Fantasy growing up, so so yeah, it'd be like for those that have played like let's say Final Fantasy 7, it'd be like Aerith style character. So yeah,
Very cool. I think
yeah,
that would be a really dope superpower.
yeah. And I guess to answer why, like I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of other powers that come with like more problematic side effects like flying, like you could probably injure yourself a lot easier than you think, or invisibility comes with a whole set of problems. But I don't know, the power to heal seems like it's a power that can only be good, hopefully maybe not be able to be overused, so I'd like to think it's a good one.
I think we definitely need that more now since we're in our 30s. Like if this was 20 years ago or whatever, I think we wouldn't really like need that, but because our bodies are starting to deteriorate, it takes
Yeah.
us longer to like recover from shows or from skateboarding, whatever. Like I feel like that superpower would definitely like come into play.
Yeah, like not even to get all dark about it. It's so true. Like the last few years, I had some unexpected chronic illness stuff pop up, and I'm figuring it out. But it's one of those things where I'm like, damn, it's one of those things where there is no cure, and it's just kind of like treating symptoms as they pop up. So I'm like, it would be kind of sick if I could just like wipe it all away and start over, even if it is starting over at 35 with the same knees and whatnot. So.
That's awesome. So if you had $1 million and you could donate it to any charity, which one?
I would donate it to Raw Artworks in my hometown of Lynn, Mass, because they're basically it's an art therapy after school program that works with like kids of all sorts of backgrounds, a lot of disadvantaged youth, a lot of first gen, like US youth, first kid in their school to like finish high school. And it's a really awesome organization. They do amazing work. I have several friends that are alumni from the program, and it's one of those things, the town, Lynn, that I'm from, whenever I tell them like, random people, like it doesn't matter. I've had people say this back to me. There's a rhyme call, and people, when I say like, oh, like I'm from Lynn, someone will say, oh, Lynn, city of sin. And that's because I think people just don't understand like diversity, and over time people have just gotten scared of the fact that it's like a very like melting pot of a place. So yeah, that would be where my money would go.
Oh, that'd be really cool. Well,
Yeah.
maybe one of these days you'll find $1 million just, walking down the street or whatever.
One can dream. I once found $60 under a seat when I worked at a movie theater, like just cleaning a theater, and that was like jackpot. So I feel like, it's about time. It's been about 15 years. I could use some money.
You've earned it. You deserve it. Let's get
Exactly.
it. That's awesome. All right, last question. What are some places in Boston that visitors should check out?
Places in Boston a visitor should check out. There's a lot of cool historical stuff. If Tom was on this call, he would say 100% hands down the Tea Party Museum, which I haven't been to, but apparently it's very interactive, and it's like you're kind of like part of a show, but you're learning about history and like the Boston Tea Party, as it were. Um, But honestly, if you come to Boston, I think the cemeteries are really cool, and like the Boston Common, like there's just like a lot of like beautiful green space and like lush sort of overgrown cemeteries with like historical graves and like the death's head like cherub like with the wings, like just stuff that is hard to find outside of this area of the country, just because we're such a young country overall. But yeah, I'd say like just wandering like the downtown area and like finding all the old little buildings and that sort of thing, which is probably not as cool of an answer. But if you're coming to Boston, and you want to see like a cool show, honestly, I'd say go to O'Brien's Pub any night of the week, and you're going to see like 3 to 4 really cool local bands that like you've probably never heard of, and have an awesome time. Maybe get ribbed by the bartender a little bit, eat a couple beef jerky sticks, which they also have vegan, and it's great.
Well, sign me up for history and sign me up for beer and sign me up for a show.
Hell yeah, I'll be your tour guide next time you come.
Please do, because those are all some of my favorite things. Like a lot of people don't know that I'm a big like history nerd. It was my favorite subject, growing up, and I always took it super seriously. And like, I tell people like Boston's like, one of the most historical cities in the country, in the world. So like, when I'm there, I'm just like in heaven.
Yes. And there's so many other small towns around. And like, I know you've probably heard of Salem. Like, there's a plenty of places that are within like a train ride or just like a 30 to 40-minute drive. And, suddenly you're in a place that just has like all of this history and you would never even guess. And it's just like beautiful. And then you can eat like a sub by the ocean and it's great.
Reminds me of the song "Cake by the Ocean."
Essentially, yeah. Like, it just like replace that with like Italian sub and yeah, it's the same idea.
It's funny because I hate that song. That
I do too.
song that song drives me nuts. Like whenever it comes on, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna turn you off.
It's such an earworm in the like worst kind of way, but yeah, I totally agree.
But they did it on purpose. They knew that people would just like hate it and get annoyed, so they decided to like, just like troll everybody.
Yeah, I heard that there was like a translation from Swedish because one of their songwriters is one of those like Swedish pop guys, and like the term for sex translates to like cake by the ocean or some shit like that. I don't know. That's what I heard anyway.
Huh, that's news to me.
Yeah, fact check me though. I'm not totally sure.
I'll go and Google it and I'll report back.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Well, Andrea, thank you so much for coming on, and the support means the world to me.
Hey, thanks for having me, Dave. Likewise. Happy to be here. Hopefully do it again sometime.
Absolutely. So for the watchers, the listeners, they're going to check this out later. Where can they find your music at?
If you Google M as in Mary, K as in Kate, put a little space and the name Naomi band, you will find us. So all of our handles are like MK Naomi MA for Massachusetts. And that's what it is on Instagram. You can find us on all of the streaming apps. We have videos on YouTube, not official music videos, but some live stuff. And yeah, you can find us pretty much right below the CIA.gov.
Well, do what she says and go to the websites and buy a CD, buy a shirt, support local music, go to a show, and you guys are absolutely killing it. Keep up the dope work.
Thanks so much, Dave. Appreciate you very much.
Of course, I hope you have a great day.
You too.
Peace.
Bye.